horizon in the backyard garden. Guys, I'm standing here with this 7-foot tall sunflower, and there's more back there. So we'll give you an update. There'll be lots of updates on the garden, but if you've been following my shorts, and you guys check out my shorts, because there's a lot of information I'm sharing there that I'm not on just my regular videos. Also subscribe, because there's going to be a lot of harvesting coming up, and you wouldn't believe the squashes. The butternut squash, spaghetti squash, they are the biggest I've ever seen. So those are turning out amazing. But today's video is on the clover lawn. And if you've been following my short, you know I gave the clover lawn 2 thumbs up. Due to the pollinators, I love how it spreads, it chokes out the weeds, it adds moisture to the soil for the garden. It's been great for the squashes. However, there's one issue, and learn from me not to do this. So I love the clover garden combined. However, it's not the best for tomato plants, especially if you don't tie them up with a string or a stick like I did. I just let them crawl on the ground, and that was a huge mistake, you guys, because all of the clover has grown so much because it's rained quite a bit. Earlier this spring it was pretty dry. I'd have to do a lot of hand watering, and then now we've got quite a bit of rain, so the clover has taken off. It's grown quite a bit, and because I didn't tie the 54 tomato plants, the tomatoes are actually pretty hard to find in the clover. So it's like a treasure hunt where I'm having to go through the clover to find these tomatoes. And so next year what I'm going to do is the clover is going to come back every year, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a trellis with some strings for the tomatoes, and that way we'll use the vertical growing for the tomatoes, and it won't spread out amongst the ground, because right now what's happening is the tomato plants are just stretching out on the ground, and that's where all the tomatoes are. So I'll show you guys what's happening here. But the clover it's doing its job, which is growing, and it'll be great for the pollinators, but for tomato plants it's not the best. For everything else in the garden, it's been great. Even with the cucumbers, it was a good thing I put those on the trellis, because also those would be hard to find within the clover. The squashes are okay because they're fairly big, so you can see them. So again, I still love the clover lawn because it adds moisture to the garden. It'll bring in the pollinators once it starts flowering, and adds nitrogen to the soil, and it chokes out the weeds, and it has just taken off and spread along the walkways. But for tomato plants, not the best idea. So we're going to use vertical growing, and that will just solve the problem next year. So always learning something new, and even these mistakes, it's just an opportunity to learn and adjust. And that's all about gardening, is just being flexible and adapting. And that's what nature does. So we learn, we grow, and we keep moving. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, be getting in some whole, healthy, fresh foods, be getting in some nature, some fresh air, sunlight, oxygen, and when you do that, we'll all be